part 67 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. This is a continuance of the previous part in the same court day of our 2021 landmark civil trial where we were awarded the largest PTSD settlement of all time that has not been paid by the owners of Blaze Pizza. Okay, so William Jolson, remember they're all representing themselves because they're broke and indigent, and William Jolson gets up and tries to cross-examine a doctor. Doesn't really work out because he doesn't know what he's doing and he's guilty. So our attorneys do a sidebar with the judge and they're like, they keep breaking the rules. You know, what do we do at this point? And the judge agrees. And she says, I'm seeing that, she says this to the defendants. She says, I'm seeing that there doesn't seem to be a line here for you. There's a line here for everyone else. And if the defendants violate again, there will be monetary consequences. You say you don't have money. I'll make a ruling. You'll pay the money. You'll find the money. That seems to be the only thing that you all understand. God, I love Susan Bryant Deason. Then the judge for the jury, she reads, because we made the jury leave while she fact-checked everything I said on the stand to make sure we could talk about it in front of the jury. And she was like, oh, Anne was correct, verbatim. Shawn was lying. So she brings that to the attention of the jury about how in the criminal prelim years earlier, that identical twins Maurice and Alberto Daniel Driz had requested to have assigned seating through Robert Shapiro. And then once they got that, they switched clothes and switched seats in between each testifying witness to confuse them. And she then looks at them and she goes, and she's angry. She tells the Drizzes, you lied to me. And she's angry. Then she tells them that they're very, very close to being in contempt of court. So then I am put back on the stand to finish my testimony. And I talk about how I had to spend over $10,000 on security precautions to protect myself from the defendants because a lot of scary things started happening on a consistent basis immediately after the assaults happened. I talk about how the Drizzes, for attempted unaliving with witnesses and everything, that the fact that they got 45 non-consecutive days in a private jail of their choosing, they chose Seal Beach, where you can have full-size refrigerator and flat screen TV inside your jail cell, and you don't have to have jail food. You can have, Mr. Chow and Matsuhisa deliver your food every single day. You can have Air One deliver your food. Also, it was non-consecutive over the course of a year, so they were allowed to just do weekends, and if they went on vacation, then they would not go to jail. They would go on vacation, and then if they had time the next week, they would squeeze in a few days. So that was their jail sentence. And also, they were kicked out of that private jail because they showed up drunk. They showed up and they had breathalyzers taken by the police by the people running the jail, and they failed the breathalyzers. It showed they had alcohol in their system on felony probation. And there were no consequences for that as well. So yeah, I'm afraid of them because no matter what they do, with how much evidence we have, with not only the attempted unaliving, but on top of it, all the violations, there was never any consequences. The system was consistently telling them they could do whatever they wanted. And the system was consistently telling me I was not a human being. I did not matter. We talked about how Shawn Driz, that I had fear of him because he violated my restraining order against him multiple times. One being the showing up to my deposition and the video I showed in the previous part, and speaking to me and saying, are you afraid of me? Plain and simple. And then the second time he violated probation was at the illegal secret hearing in Judge Keith Schwartz's airport courtroom when they were caught with the illegal white powder and the stolen chambered loaded pew-pew. Instead of going to prison for 7 years, which is what any normal person would do if you're on felony probation, you're caught with all that stuff. Instead, they had their probation shortened. And Shawn was not arrested. His punishment was to move into a rent-free situation to Christina Schwarzenegger's Brentwood mansion. And during one of those secret hearings, as I mentioned before, way back in my series, my brother and I and friends of ours that attended with us, when we were in the hallway right at the end of this hearing for Alberto Driz and the pew-pew and the white powder, as they walked out, his attorney for this was Blair Burke. And at that time, in 2017-ish, I guess, Blair Burke, if you don't know that name, she was simultaneously at this time also representing Harvey Weinstein for the dozens and dozens of women that he raped Okay, so she's not cheap, especially during this time. But somehow these broke and indigent people were able to afford her on a dime. So Shawn walked out of the courtroom with her. He walked past us and he laughed at me and my brother and the other plaintiff. And he said, "Have a great day." And then Blair Burke and him giggled and laughed as they walked past us with their huge team. So when we notified the DA brought it up at the next court hearing and told Judge Keith Schwartz. And the judge said, or no, he told Catherine Mater, one of the two lenient judges that wasn't doing their job. The punishment was, they said, "Hey guys, don't do that." And that was it. That was it. Okay, so I get off the stand. My work is done here on the stand. My work is never done behind the scenes, unfortunately. But we go off the record, and the judge lets us all know that William Jolson never sent the doctors negative COVID test for missing court the other day. Like, oopsie, wonder where that went. But my attorney does go, "Well, I actually got a text from William Jolson, and here it is." All right, I apologize if your brain fries from this. Okay, so we got a little. All right. So he said, the text from Jolson reads, "Chris, I found out multiple people I was with this weekend got COVID, so I notified the clerk in our department and went to get a rapid test. I dropped my phone at the gas station after and completely wrecked my screen, so I had to wait for the stores to open to repair my screen so I could get my results and use my navigation, and it's taken me literally all day to get to the repair shop. I have receipts. I'm truly sorry for the disruption. I thought the court would go ahead and continue with the trial." He's like, "I didn't want to be there. I thought you guys would start without me." And that is the end of this court day, and I'll do the next part, and we'll move to July 16th the next day. It's going to be interesting. Thanks, guys.